Hey guys, it's good to see everybody again. I know I said that I wouldn't make another video for this playlist, but here we are. On the first video I ever made on this playlist and part of this vlog, I remember saying that I wanted to do a video kind of cataloging and like showing examples of how God was working in my life throughout every aspect of my career and my career transition and everything. And I never made that video. So this is that video. Now that I have like finally transitioned from career to career and all that stuff, I want to go back and just talk about like how I see him in that path. So this is strictly career stuff, and this is where I'm starting off is whenever I first got done with my student teaching. So I was student teaching in Bossier City, Louisiana at Parkway High School. I graduated from Louisiana Tech in November of 2011. And I remember that I was going to church with Mark Minton. He was also the head band director at Parkway. So like we got to be pretty good friends. We're still good friends. And we played a gig, I think in April. So between November and April, I started working for my dad at his tobacco store. And in April, we played a gig. And I remember he told me, he's like, "Hey, Jonathan, there's a gig in Logansport. There's a job in Logansport, a band director job, if you're interested." And up until this point, I know I did music education, but I didn't want to be a band director. I saw how many hours it took. Most of the band directors I've ever met had a hard time managing their family, you know, and honestly, that's what ended up getting me right at the end of it all. Um, but I don't know. I needed something to kind of move me forward, and so I didn't want to do it. When he mentioned Logansport, I wasn't interested. But over the course of the next day, I don't know, my mind changed. For me, that was a God moment. That was a moment that was like, "Hey, this is where your path is. Like this is my will for you." And so I ended up calling and applying, and I ended up getting the job, um, which was cool. And honestly, I don't know if I needed it more or if they needed it more because those kids really needed somebody. Before me, they were in pretty bad shape. The band was in pretty bad shape, and this isn't like a gloat or a brag or anything. It's just honest. The band hall was a mess. The sixth graders didn't know what instruments they were playing. They just kind of told me whatever they felt like playing. When I got there, what were you assigned to? Saxophone. I'm a percussionist. I've always been a percussion. Okay. Anyway, the high school kids didn't know how to read eighth notes. They could barely play their instruments. It was really bad. And so it wasn't their fault, obviously. But anyway, there was a lot to do there. And honestly, I wasn't really that skilled for it. I mean, so what helped me was that I cared about them. I cared about the kids. I cared about the program, and I wanted it to be successful. And so it was hard. But 6 years by 6 years later, whenever I finally did leave, we had gone to state competition. We had gotten straight ones, sweepstakes. We had gotten several trophies. We'd gotten best in class in lots of places. We I sent a ton of kids to honor band, and I sent some kids to all state. It was great, and it just started with caring about it. But what I'm saying is, I know that God needed me there, and I know that I needed those kids, and it was exactly how it's meant to happen. After 6 years, though, and after I had my son, I started realizing I need to find a job that balances my time a little better, and also a place where I can learn and become a better band director. Uh, Again, and so that I don't have to spend so much time at work. And anyway, so I started looking for a job, and as I got more and more desperate as it got closer to the end of the year, uh, I ended up getting a call about Longview, and I remember Tommy Moore over there called me and asked me if I was interested, and I went over there and I talked to him, and um, we had an interview. He took my family out to lunch, which was amazing, and showed me all the schools and stuff. And I remember it was like surreal. I was like, "This is so cool! Like, it would be awesome to work here with this huge program and like this stadium and the three middle schools and all this stuff." And like this was huge for, a guy who'd been working in a small town for 6 years. Like it was big. And so I remember specifically Tommy Moore told me three things I needed to do. I needed to go, if I wanted the job, I needed to go to TBA Academy, I needed to finish my master's, and I needed to work my tail off. Well, I always worked my tail off. And then doing the academy was easy. And then finishing my master's, I actually ended up finishing my master's with a 4.0 at the end of that year. So I accomplished all three goals. And I also remember him telling me that he just had a feeling about me, and he just kept hearing like my name everywhere, and it kept coming to his mind. So for me, that's pretty clearly a God thing. It's pretty obvious to me that God was urging me in that direction, and was clearing the path for me. So went to Longview. That was great. I had a lot of good things there. I met a lot of kids. I met a lot of people. I helped a lot of kids. I made a lot of good friends. And towards the end of the year, I started looking for that perfect job again that would balance my time and my happiness at work, and money and all that stuff, because the hours in Longview were ridiculous. I mean, the marching band hours were crazy, and it was an hour away from my home in Shreveport, so I was never home. So I started looking. I applied for about 30 jobs in Dallas, in the Dallas area, I think, mainly. And I remember I actually wanted a job in Wascom as the head director, and like I worked really hard on that. I called both directors. I talked to them for a while. I was planning on going out there, and that job never opened up until after I got my Garland job. Like the day of, I was like, "Hey, I'm already moving," and they were like, "We really want you here," and I was like, "So God was protecting me." But anyway, with the Garland job, I remember I called on a Wednesday. I called and I said, "Hey, do y'all have any openings?" And they said, "We have two, but one of them's about to close up. So if you want to send me your resume, we can consider you for this other opening." I said, "Okay." And I sent them my resume, and within the hour, they called me for an interview. They said, "Right, can you come in tomorrow for an interview?" I said, "Yeah, sure." Came in the next day, and 3 hours later, got an offer for that job. So in 2 days, it was just boom, 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 boom. I didn't even know it, but this was the third round of interviews for that position. They had hundreds of applicants. And again, like if it wasn't for me calling that day, like I think actually I was on the way home from Dallas. No, 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 I was on the way home from Longview and I called. Like if I didn't call that day, I would have got an interview and I wouldn't have got the job. So that's another instance for me of God directing that. He got me to call. He got them to work it out. Like it worked out. So got the job in Garland, and honestly, that had been my favorite band director job. I loved the kids everywhere I taught, but the kids in but in Garland, I was very well supported by the community, by administrators. I had a really good mentor and like head director. Uh, the facilities were great. The kids were really smart. It was a great situation. It was my dream job as far as band directing goes. And even then, I was not able to achieve any kind of a good balance for my family. I got paid better than I got paid in my other two jobs, but I had to get there at 5:30 in the morning to do administrative stuff for a couple hours, and then from 7:30 to 5 in the afternoon, I taught straight. I had like a 45-minute block in there for a planning period, and like a lunchtime, but I was teaching the whole day, and it was great. It was fun, but my family was miserable, and that side of me that needed fulfillment with my family was miserable. And then quarantine happened. Over quarantine, I had that chance to reflect and think about things, and I realized, what I needed to do. I needed to change to software development because it would give me that freedom that I've been looking for so long. And I, you know, you could say what you want. You're like, well, if you came all the way to Dallas to be a band director and then you ended up being a software developer, right? But if I didn't come to Dallas, I wouldn't be able to be a software developer. I don't know what I'd be able to do. I mean, I guess I could be a software developer from Shreveport since my job is remote, technically. But I met tons of great people in the DFW that mentored me on this journey. I met tons of people. Free Code Camp Dallas. I want to join that. I wouldn't even thought about it because it's Dallas. I was in Shreveport. React Dallas. I wouldn't have met those guys. I probably wouldn't have had enough guidance, and I would have fell off the wagon. God moved me here because He knew this is the direction that I was going to go eventually, and I needed to be here in this area for this to happen. And so that's incredible. Now, once I started that journey to becoming a software developer, I remember back in October, I prayed. I said, God, if I'm not meant to be a software developer, please let me lose interest now and just let me forget about it and move on. If I am, then please clear the path. Like, let me just be on fire for this. And you know what happened? I fell in love with it. It was like January of this year, sorry. And I was just on fire for it. I didn't want to put it down. I was coding all the time. And it just kept going like that, and I kept pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. And like my fire for it just kept growing and growing and growing. And I remember it got to be like uh a couple weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, I had all these applications out. I started getting all these interviews. I had 5 or 6 interviews lined up, and then I had Crescendo Collection or Collective that offered me a job, but Bestow was right there. And I remember being like, man, I have a job opportunity. I always thought that I would take the first one, but I really want to work at Bestow. I was like, God, just please give me guidance on this. And I just felt this need to just wait and just see what happens. Just wait. It's going to be fine. And let me tell you, like, he delivered. He delivered. Bestow was better on our is better for our finances, is better for our insurance, is better for, just the fact that I like everybody I met there, is better for the fact that it's here in Dallas. I can drive to it. Like, I'm super excited about it. And I'm actually going to do another video in a second, which is going to be the first video of my next playlist, which is, you know, my journey as a beginner, as a baby software engineer, like starting as a junior software engineer at a company. And I'm so excited for this job. Like, I can't wait to start. And it's bittersweet because I'm like, well, I'm not going to be on break anymore, but like I am excited to start. And I haven't been excited for like this excited for a job in a long time. So I can't wait. And I'm so thankful that God has been with me every step of this way. I know that He's not going to leave us now. And I know that He's going to continue to walk with us and walk with my family and lead me. I know that no matter what, His will is going to be done. And it's a great comfort. So if you're somebody who's watching this video and you are not a Christian and you're interested at all in hearing the gospel, please feel free to reach out. Comment. You can reach out to me privately, whatever. But let me tell you, and I had some moments of panic. I had some moments of desperation in that time. But the peace that God gives you is incredible. It's the peace that transcends all human understanding. And it's just, I guess it can be wrapped up really well in Philippians 4:6-7. Do not be anxious about anything, but in prayer and petition with thanksgiving, present your requests to God, and the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. I have a peace and a joy that I didn't have, and God has just He always takes care of us, so it's great. Anyway, I hope you enjoy this video, and this is now truly the last video of this playlist. I think, hopefully. The next playlist will start hopefully soon. I just got to do a video for it. And then honestly, I'd like to do it today. So hopefully we can get it started today. But anyway, thank you for watching, and feel free to comment, subscribe. There's more videos coming. All right, thanks. Bye.